The secretary's day, huh? I wonder if it's going to document her wondrous day of picking up the dry cleaning, answering the phones, and giving the boss a hand job behind his wife's back.
The modern world is a world in which business plays an important part.
This must be narrated by Captain Obvious. He seems to have a hand in narrating all Coronet's instructional films, which are highly instructional, I think.
That alert, efficient person who plays such a vital role in the world.
There was actually an unrated version of this when it showed a back view of the secretary bobbing her head in the boss's lap.
She's at her desk on time. Promptness, neatness, orderliness.
Cunningness.
In her first minute, Jean has displayed these attributes of a good secretary. Office supplies are the tools with which Jean works.
Oh, really?
Her desk permits a quick check to see that she has enough supplies on hand for the day. She takes out only those things she knows she needs. With her place of business in order, she helps to organize the day for herself and her employer by referring to her invaluable calendar pad.
On her iPod
and
Touch.
from it, typing up the daily appointment sheet. This record indicates the names of various people who have appointments for the day. It also lists memorandums or personal reminders for her employer. The record is placed on Mr. Williams' desk before he arrives. The new arrival is Marge Quinn,
Bitch.
stenographer and Jean's worker. Now, let's clear up this distinction.
Gee, I suppose it was too much trouble just to leave the freaking typewriter on the desk.
The stenographer takes dictation, transcribes, and types. She may also do billing and filing, and operate office machines such as a duplicator or calculator or transcribing machine. At times, she may also operate the switchboard.
Which, of course, turns the light on and off.
A secretary assumes much more responsibility than a stenographer.
Because stenographers are incompetent windbags.
Rest of the company, as we shall see. The calendar pad helps Jean to keep track of her many responsibilities and to establish a regular schedule. At about the same time each day, the morning mail is distributed.
Jean, you're a nice lady, so when I go on a shooting spree this afternoon, I won't kill you.
She selects the unopened personal letters for Mr. Williams from the business mail, which was opened in the mailroom. Mr. Williams has instructed her to open all his personal mail. The care and precision with which she handles this routine assignment are again indicative of Jean's thoroughly competent approach to her job.
Fucking goody two-shoes. Do they really think that they have to show women how to open letters? I mean, I know this is the 40s and women are rather stupid.
This takes a little longer than simply zipping the letters open, but it minimizes the dangers of tearing the contents or accidentally throwing away a loose enclosure. And of course, enclosures are no longer loose after they've passed through Jean's hands.
Neither are packages, I guess.
In checking through the business mail, she finds a letter which refers to some previous correspondence. So she gets out the file on this, in case Mr. Williams might want it later. And now the mail is in order.
Good morning, Marge.
Good morning, Mr. Williams.
Good morning, Jean.
Good morning, Mr. Williams.
I want to talk to Mr. Dubois of Philadelphia. Will you call him for me at 11 o'clock?
Why, yes, of course. That's Peter Dubois, isn't it?
That's right. And it's very important.
Isn't everything? I mean,
Jean
come
makes
on,
a
man.
note of Mr. Williams' instructions on her calendar pad. The good secretary doesn't rely on memory. Jean will make sure that every item here is taken care of today. Two of them, the itinerary and the checks, can easily be attended to during the morning dictation period. Mr. Williams usually gives dictation at the same time each morning. This period is an important part of Jean's daily routine. She makes sure she has all her materials for taking dictation, plus the itinerary, the checks, and the file folder she got out earlier.
Skank.
Leaving
Slide.
Marge to answer the phone and receive any callers, Jean responds quickly. She recognizes her responsibility to conserve her employer's time. It's another essential part of her job. For all her other duties, taking dictation and transcribing her notes is Jean's most important responsibility, the foundation of secretarial skill.
Captain Crunch, it's too hard. If only they came up with some liquid substance to soften it up. Maybe perhaps they could do this for all cereal. It seems like it would make it easier for me to ingest and enjoy.
Such as bringing the file which he thought he would need. Dependability in attending to many personal and business details, such as making sure he signs checks. These are qualities which make the secretary a real asset to her employer.
There you are.
What check did I just sign?
My trip to Toronto. I've decided to stop off at Cleveland on my way back. That will be on the 20th.
Yeah, that's real interesting, whatever.
To allow me a day there?
Very well. I'll check on hotel and train reservations.
I think that will be all for now, Jean. Oh, by the way, I saw Mr. Carl. He won't be in this afternoon. Make his appointment for 9 o'clock tomorrow morning.
And before he comes in, please bring me my 9mm under your desk.
Jean leaves the office without delay. Now she can revise her schedule and bring it up to date. On the calendar pad, she checks off the items that have been taken care of. The appointment with Mr. Carl is canceled. It becomes the first item on the next day's schedule. For organizing her work is a continuing process from day to day and week to week. The checks have been signed and the itinerary must be revised. The itinerary is a schedule of times and places that make up a trip. A hotel guide will supply the information Jean needs to arrange for Mr. Williams to stay overnight in Cleveland.
And the best part is no William Shatner.
Knowing where to look for information and how to use it is part of Jean's job. The secretary should be familiar with standard reference books like these. By mid-morning, Jean is well along with her transcribing. This period is another part of her varied day. But she is also receptionist to customers, friends, job applicants, and salesmen. Jean knows how her employer wants her to handle these different kinds of callers.
How come all of these secretaries are mildly to quite attractive? You know, you'd figure there'd be a nice hunky man in with a nice goatee.
The secretary's
I'm
manner
joking.
of handling callers directly influences their attitude toward the business. The unexpected caller receives as courteous treatment as does Mr. Richards, who has an appointment. Callers, whether expected or not, usually interrupt other work.
The bastards.
Jean loses no time getting back to her organized routine. Call Peter Dubois. Yes, proper use of the telephone is another must for a good secretary.
Long distance, please. I want Philadelphia, Quaker 1200, Mr. Peter Dubois. The last name is spelled D-U-B-O-I-S. Mr. Arthur J. Williams at Center 9000 is calling.
Not only does the secretary maintain a pleasant relationship with her employer and his business associates,
I drew a picture of you. I also included your gaping vagina, you skank.
occasionally give instructions to subordinates and supervise their work. Jean is able to tell others what to do because she knows from experience what is required. Having been a general office worker before she became a secretary, she's familiar with other phases of office work, and she's always willing to help a fellow worker. Consideration for others is an important factor in good office manners. Jean has carried through her daily routine very thoroughly and has kept up with her schedule. As a result, even a late interruption, like an unexpected call for dictation, can be handled smoothly. In this office, there's no frantic last-minute rush to wind up the day's work. Jean is still at top
Harlot.
of the speed. Even
Cunt.
under pressure of getting out a last-minute
Jean,
letter.
my butt is chafed. Can you bring out the baby powder?
Goodwill and understanding are part of her personality. part of her job.
So what exactly do the bosses do? Because it seems like the secretary's doing all the work. I guess part of the secretary is also having to wipe the boss's ass, too.
She winds up her day in a neat, orderly manner.
Tramp.
The routine of one day carries over into the next. Before Jean leaves, she has a clear picture of what she is going to do tomorrow. Alert, personable, efficient. Our secretary leaves at the end of the day with a sense of accomplishment and of pride in her contribution to the world of business.
Or she could just leave with a fat wallet.
Important part.
It would be even better if instead of saying the end, it said the end. And maybe they could make a sequel too.